I mean, death by magpie. It would be
Uh-huh.
how many? Like, obviously, you can't continue to do TOFOP, but
What?
just say it happens, right? What do you mean? Would you keep going TOFOP? I guess you could do TOFOP Plus without me.
I mean, I don't think that listener would want me to change the branding again.
Right. You're like, I can't. Charlie, I don't know if you heard. Charlie got pushed onto a road by a magpie and hit by an 18-wheeler.
So now we have TOFOP with friends and TOFOP without Charlie.
But would you, like, just say, so you get that somehow the footage ends up in your hands. Like Gemma says to you, Will, you're a good friend of Charlie's. I'm happy for you to do with this footage what you want. I don't want to see it. I know it doesn't need to see it, but I think it's important. It's like that. You've seen what's that bear documentary? Not Grizzly Man. Is it Grizzly Man?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, where Wim Wenders, like he's sitting down with the girlfriend of the guy who got eaten by the bear, and he listens to the audio of it, and he's like, you know what? You should never listen to that. You should never just burn those tapes. So Gemma's like, well, I can't possibly, but I think you as his trusted friend and. You can have the vision. So you've got the vision of me doing the filming myself. Magpie pecks me in the head. I get pushed in front of a truck, hit by the truck. Magpie pecks me on the head. What are you doing with that vision? Are you analyzing it on the podcast? You get Hamo on or Dave Anthony or someone, and you break it down frame by frame?
No, I think he's.
And by the way, I'm all cool with it. I don't think this is disrespectful. I think everything's content, and I would want you to kind of, if it gets us a sponsor, like imagine that.
We finally make money.
That had to happen for Nike and McDonald's and Qantas to come on board and start sponsoring the show. Well, turns out they just need death content.
Firstly, you're involved in this scheme, so it would lose money. Yeah. There's no doubt it would cost us money. Whatever, I don't know how yet, but it would absolutely cost us money. But no, if I was going to exploit it, like, okay, here's what happens. We've talked about this already a bunch, right? Including this conversation that we're having right now. So that's what makes this valuable, right? It's if you had just died in that situation, yeah, it's a funny bit of content, well filmed, but like it's not like I can't do that much with it, right? Like then yes, it would just be maybe an episode of like TOFOP, get a few people in to remember you and watch the footage, but it's bigger than that. Because this is part of the mythology. This is, if you've never heard of this podcast before and you just saw like a Netflix series about like this guy who like you saw how he died, and then like true crime drama like style, you go back and go, well, hang on, like
his final days.
Maybe this was like not as simple as just an accident, because like he's been talking about this for years. Like, is it the magpie protection people who've done him in? Like, is it the same magpie? Is this malicious?
You get on Joe Rogan's show.
Like, yeah,
you get on Joe Rogan's show and you start spreading some conspiracy theories.
I've heard there's different footage, Joe. I've heard there is like more footage shot from a different angle.
You said he rode that route every day. Are you telling me
every single
that magpie attacked him every day, rode that, and it never happened? And then this one day, and we don't get to see it from the footage because you can't see how he ends up on the road. I'm saying that there was a second magpie or a second pusher.
Yep. And have you noticed on the back tire of his bike, that's flat? Now, that could be an accident. That could be from the accident. It could be flat from the accident and being knocked over. But did someone let down his tire? Like, I mean, really, I'm talking, I could see this being three series on Netflix, like over as we draw it out, like to find out, who was responsible.
So kind of like Making a Murderer.
Because we have these great reveals where people can find, like that we've spoken about this, including this conversation right now. I mean, I'm going to be the prime suspect based on this.
Yeah, 100%.
Because I have the most to gain at this point. But then once people hear this, part of the mystery might be, did we actually manifest this? Because somebody out there has heard this conversation and then tried to murder you and blame it on a magpie.
Okay, how about we do this, right?
I reckon it's that woman who pretended that she had a twin sister. She comes back into it. Like, the
beautiful.
Twin. It was
That's
the twin
a great
sister.
plan and payoff. It's awesome.
Right?
How about this though, right?
Yeah.
So we do those 3 seasons. So and the footage gets deconstructed. There's lots of kind of after shows that sort of talk about the revelations you make in each series. Series 4. it's revealed I faked my own death.
Yeah. Perfect.
Like Olivia Newton-John's husband style.
Yeah.
Like it was just a way to get out of the listener contract or something like that.
No, it was just a way, maybe, no, how about this?
Yeah.
Harold from Neighbours style. You
Oh,
do
come
get
back.
hit in the head by, because we need the body, right?
Yeah, but I could go missing. Like that can be the mystery. There's no body. My bike is found, my helmet.
The magpie
blood.
comes over and pecks the phone. So we see the magpie, but all we see is you fall. Well, we think fall, or were you pushed, or did the magpie attack you? Yeah. There's not enough footage of that, and your body is gone. Missing.
And there's lots of animals in the area, so you could argue that, maybe it was I don't know.
We dragged away by koala.
Snakes. I was trying to think of there's no dingoes in the area, but there could be some animal. Dogs, it'd be like some
wild
feral dogs.
There's heaps of wild dogs.
Feral dogs around there. So, So you need enough kind of you need to muddy the waters a bit. So every few weeks they find another, like a shoe, a jacket, something else that is like, he's most likely been dragged into the woods by a pack of wild dogs and eaten. And
so where have you been? You've lost your memory. Where have you been in these 3 years, do you think? Like, because where would you have ended up that if you have no memory and you've just wandered off or been picked up maybe even? Like,
so the dogs dragged me down to a creek, like a riverbed, and they do have a bit of a nibble, but not fatally. And then I'm dragging the creek, the water carries me away. So I flow south somewhere around central New South Wales. Like I'm thinking, I don't know, what's that town? Like Armadale or something like that.
Okay.
Just in the middle of nowhere.
All right. Yep.
And, like small towns, like you often get people turn up in small towns.
Stranger. Don't ask too many questions.
History. Yeah. And so he's saying I've got no memory of who I am.
No memory.
It's like, all right. So,
but you've got ID on you, maybe. Would you have your ID on you if you were riding your bike?
No ID.
Okay, no ID.
I'm John Doe.
Great. Well, that works perfectly. Great.
And so I wake up in this riverbed. I turn up at I crawl out of this riverbed where I wash up in Armadale. I go to this farmer's house, knock on the door. They take me in. They assume by the state of me that I'm on the run. Yeah. And maybe one of the
drugs.
Farmers
on the run or on drugs.
They take
two
pity
things
on me
that in that area could absolutely be a stranger who comes to your door.
And so they assume maybe they take pity on me.
I'll be them calling now.
Maybe they take pity on me because they assume maybe they've had their own battles with the police or drugs.
They may well be themselves on the run from society in some way in that part of the world. So they take you in, they offer you some work.
Pennyworth style. They say we can't pay you, but you get a roof over your head and you get 3 squares.
Yeah.
What are the three?
You can be our butler. Have you seen the TV show Pennyworth? They see you.
Okay, so it's not a farmer. I end up on the grounds of a palatial mansion. They've made all their money from cattle or something like that.
CBD oil or
Yeah. But you know how in the
weird business,
the Victorian era, it was kind of considered it was a status symbol to have a hobo.
It's true, right? To
living on your property.
Yeah.
So they want a hobo butler.
Okay.
And that's
that's you. You're kind of this is great because you're living out which was it which of the guys from Five was it who
disappeared?
No, who was the one who was the professional party guy for a while that you would invite to the party?
Abs.
So this is a little Abs, right?
Yeah.
There's these rich beef farmers or whatever they are from Armadale. They've made they've got a old school beef fortune, and then you've rolled in. And they're keeping you as a bit of a novelty, a pet, as part of.
Pet.
Oh, how about this?
Okay.
They realize they're nefarious, so they realize who you are.
So it's Misery style.
They know who you are. They love that you've forgotten, right?
Yeah.
So they take you in because they think it's hilarious that they've got they used to love Home and Away. And the fact that they've got this actor from Home and Away who's lost his mind, who is now working as their butler.
I mean, so it's more of a Goldie Hawn and Overboard scenario.
I mean, it is
right?
now. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so how long am I missing for? Like, they've got to keep me under wraps. They don't let me leave the property. It's like
It's
a
a big
total.
property. You've washed up. You've gone down the creek. You've washed up like in the
And I
middle
have
of
no
nowhere on
idea
their
where
property.
I am.
No.
I don't know where town is or whatever. And I assume at the start, I'm just grateful for the roof over my head. But then I'm going to start asking questions. So I reckon that's probably about 2 or 3 months into it. I'm probably starting to ask questions, and they're kind of, either passively or proactively preventing me from leaving. At some point, I've got to catch on to the fact that I'm a prisoner. And so I've got to make my escape.
How long do you think, if you were like recovering from a traumatic incident, you lost your memory, so you have to relearn, like,
Been
just
mauled by wild dogs, dragged down the creek.
So, how long do you think between recovery from those things, being employed as a butler, and then going, I need to get into town? How long do you think you would, like, before you were really itchy to, like, work out?
If I have base cognitive function in terms of, like, okay, I don't have a memory, but I understand basically humanity and that people can't keep you against your will, then after, I'd say 3 or 4 weeks, I reckon 3 or 4 weeks to just get food in my belly, get the lay of the land. And then after about 3 or 4 weeks, I'd start asking, hey, I must have a family out there. There might be people who are missing me. Can
But
we go
what
to
if
the
I
police
was the
station?
person who was keeping you misery style, and you said those things, and I said, "Yep," and we want you to find them too. We've contacted the police. We've, like, given you details. If there's anything you can remember at any stage, please give it to me, and I'll pass it on to everybody. I'm happy to go online and search for, like, blah blah blah, like, whatever it might be. Like, how long could excuses like that put you off for, do you think?
I'm very bad at giving people the benefit of the doubt. And, like, I've been conned a couple of times by con men who just, like, say something that I want to hear. So I reckon another month of that, of them saying, hey, yeah, look, we've sent your photo to the police. They've done an all points bulletin, blah, blah, blah. I reckon it would have to be more about, when it becomes clear to me that they will not let me leave, like if I ask, can I, see the head of the household driving into town, matriarch or the patriarch, and they won't let me go with them. That's when I start going, I need to get out of here. I need to plan my escape. But if it's one of those kind of sprawling ranches, and I am not an outdoorsy bush tucker kind of guy, like, I've got no fucking idea. I don't even know what direction anything is. I'm sort of stuck. Like, I don't know that I'd want to take my chances just getting out of there.
You are stuck. And then if these beef barons, this generational beef family that you've landed yourself the butler role with, they, I think, could control or have enough power in a small community that they could take you into town, take you to certain select areas. They might have an arrangement with the local, like supermarket, for example. They might supply beef to the local supermarket, so you could go to the supermarket and there'd be no sense of alarm that there was anything weird or going on. They could
how would it be, right, if they are massive home and away fans, and just say, like, they have a lot of power in this town. It's only a small town, but there is, like, a scout hall that has a stage and stuff. And the only time I'm allowed to leave the estate is they stage live performances of their favorite episodes of Home and Away. They word me up.
So this is this like
Misery?
Or Tom Cruise's character in Tropic Thunder.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, so they're taking you down to the local hall,
community hall.
Yeah.
Where they've set it up like the high school, like Summer Bay High. There's, like, lockers that painted like a backdrop with lockers.
I like to think that actually what they've done on their giant property at their mansion is that each of the rooms is set up like a different, so like the diner or like the hall or what, like whatever
they've spent their beef fortune on reconstructing Summer Bay in their palatial
various sets,
mansion.
and then they invite people around to parties at their house, like local community big events, and like the entertainment is that you can go in, like an installation basically, where you can go into any of these rooms and you can see you, like, it's like a murder mystery party, but they get to be like Irene or Like they,
Yeah, that's right.
yeah,
Yeah. So they get to live out their fantasies by putting themselves in their favorite episodes of Home and Away.
Yes.
And I guess because I have the muscle memory, they're handing me scripts. I may not have memory of ever being on Home and Away, but I would have the muscle
It just
memory
comes
that I can learn
naturally
the
to you.
lines.
It just
Comes
feels
naturally
yeah,
to me.
You're just like, for some
And so
reason,
I'm probably
it feels easy to do.
Yeah, and I'm probably okay with it at first. I'm like, well, you know what? They've taken me in. This is the least I can do. Like that, it's a bit quirky and a bit weird. And I haven't seen Home and Away since I was a kid, so I don't really know who this Zach Maguire fellow is. But I'm happy to kind of play along. But then there would have to be a point where it's like, are we doing this every week? Like every week, do I have to do? And why are you inviting people to come around and just look at me? Like that's what they start doing, like abs. They just invite their other rich friends over to just kind of like treat me like a pet.
Yeah.
It's like, look at him. He's got his chambray shirt rolled up to the elbows, just like Zach Maguire used to do.
I mean,
from 2012 to 2016.
Let's like thought experiment with the equivalent. So, say, I mean, I guess if like who's the equivalent in profile from like a different era? So, like from like when we were young, if like if someone stumbled into our world who didn't remember who they were, right? Like.
Yeah.
But
like,
they were recognizable to us.
Yeah, it would be like Colette, like Ring My Bell.
Okay.
Colette.
Yeah. And so,
she's got the bike pants on and the braces and stuff.
I mean, you know what? What a great butler. Perfect.
because you can ring the bell.
And she's fine with that. So
yeah, she told us we could.
Okay, so you've been away for 2 years. You've been kept captive by this family. You finally emerge. You escape. You realize after a while that
someone takes pity on me. Someone who comes to the house to clean or whatever, puts me in the back of the laundry truck, smuggles me out. It's a huge story. Home and Away actor
finally
missing, considered dead, back. And it's an amazing story. They get arrested. The camera crews go in, they see that they've reconstructed the sets of Home and Away inside the house. It's a huge story.
It would be massive.
Still can't get a sponsor for the show. We have a meeting with a listener. Just asked him, like, this is amazing. Yeah. Like, we're glad you're back, Charlie. But the amazing news is we've got like numbers coming out. We'll definitely get a sponsor.
Yeah. Nothing. 0. Even less. You actually like we've just had to randomly send money to sponsors on your behalf.
MailChimp just tore up the contract. To see the full video, join our Patreon.
Patreon.com/TOFOP.